How unlikely is it to hack Bitcoin? An attempt to do some math. Over the years, Bitcoin established itself as the most secure network in the world, due to its amazingly programmed characteristics. The biggest risk for Bitcoin would be facing a serious hack, due for example to a 51 attack. A 51 attack on a blockchain occurs when a group of malicious miners gains control of over half of the network's mining power. This control theoretically allows them to manipulate the blockchain by preventing or reversing transactions, basically giving them the power to decide the destiny of the chain. We often hear that a 51 attack against the Bitcoin network would be incredibly expensive, but do you know exactly how much would it cost? Currently, the best mining machine is the Bitmain Antminer S19XP Hydro, which provides an average hash rate of 255 terahash per second THS. I've looked online and you can purchase this machine for $8,500. Currently, Bitcoin hash equals 450 exahash per second AS. Let's do some math. 51 of the current hash rate is approximately 230 AS, equal to 230 million THS. If a single hydro provides 255 S, you would need 901,960 mining machines, which you can afford if you have $7.66 billion to invest. In theory, the top 3 mining pools in the world, if they joined forces, could attempt to do a 51 attack, but they would need to coordinate the attack with incredibly precise timing, creating a malicious block before the honest chain creates one itself, and that's really difficult. While smaller cryptocurrencies with lower participation rates are more vulnerable, larger networks like Bitcoin have robust security measures in place. So, even if an attack were attempted, the consensus mechanism and the great decentralization would easily prevent it. What about Ethereum? Since its transition to proof of stake, Ethereum has become more resilient to these kinds of attacks. Currently, there are 27 million ETH staked, and to try a 51 attack you would need to control 13.8 million ETH, equal to $43 billion. Again, theoretically possible but highly unlikely. Also, the consensus mechanism would likely recognize the attack and immediately slash the staked ETH, costing the attacker an extraordinary amount of money. I've always trusted the attack's impossibility axiom, but I've never really looked into it. Now I did, and I thought it would have been interesting to share it. Hope you appreciated it. Thank you for reading. Even if you succeed at a 51 attack, this would mean that the chain is worthless and BTC would lose all its value. If you want to attack BTC with new hardware, you don't need 51 of the current hash rate, but 51 of the resulting hash rate, making it essentially a 101 attack. You have to provide more hash rate than there is right now. But this calculation is wrong anyway, no matter what factor you use. Simply because there isn't that much mining hardware available, and prices would skyrocket if you tried purchasing that much. The thing is that in order to attack Bitcoin you don't need that much computing power, because it can be done with the help of manipulating the price. By lowering the price of the asset, the profit threshold of the miners will decrease, which will cause some of them to stop their activity and thus lower the total computing power in the network. Nice to see the numbers. To be honest, the theory is very sound. These billions required might be relatively trifling for a government that wanted to crack the 51 barrier, but knowing that they'd lose most of it and having a high possibility of failure, I don't see them trying. At least not until they get desperate. GIF Giphy Nay 3XRYLWTQFTC. My mind is blown by this. If a single ASIC provides 255 S, you would need 901,960 mining machines, which you can afford if you have $7.66 billion to invest. In theory, the top 3 mining pools in the world, if they joined forces, could attempt to do a 51 attack. This brings me a lot of clarity. Doing the math for us op, I feel safe. These math numbers hurt my head. So you're saying that I'm in with a chance? Great to see some numbers. Are BTC ETH quantum resistant? This is something that concerns me. I do not think a 51 attack is ever gonna become a reality, but this in theory is enough to give chills to a crypto holder. If current rate is 100 units, you need 51 units to have over half. So you buy 51 units, and it gets added to the total. So now the total is 151. 151. And over half is now actually 76. But you only own 51. So you buy 26 to give you 77. But the total is now 100,51,26,177. Half of which is 89. Which you don't have. Anyways, back to the beginning. If current total was 100 units, you would need to buy more than double the current rate, 101. Then the total would be 201. With you owning 101. Congrats, you did it. TLDR, if my grandma had wheels, she would be a bicycle. Something that needs to be included in the calculation is the energy required to run all those machines. You must ask a country like the US or Russia to reroute all their nuclear plants to your mining system. Pools share same ISPs, so no need to outpower hashrate. Just disable their connection in one go except your own pool. The XP is made by Bitmain, not by ASIC Tears of Joy. Also THS and EHS is terahash per second and exahash per second, not terabyte exabyte. I wonder how many people are still trying this despite the odds, just in case karma blesses them. Quantum processor enters the chat. Game over. You don't need ETH to control the blockchain. You can just control network layer and boom, you are controlling who is gonna take rewards. TLDR, highly unlikely. Cool, thanks. Interesting that a POW blockchain, which I've always considered to be more secure, is cheaper in some cases to do a 51 attack than a POS chain. Depending on the market cap. All of it will be hacked when quantum computers come around in 10 or less years. So there is a chance? To be honest, you could sell this thread as a movie and it would probably be picked up. An unlikely scenario that no one would ever think of, but could in theory happen. I think the main objective with this type of security is you'd have to own so much to destroy it, that at that point you would be destroying your own wealth, and so much so that even wealthiest people would be uncomfortable. So basically only the biggest players or governments can try such an attack. Again, no chances for us shrimps. 7.6 billion isn't a lot to do this. That is worrying. I come here for the reading of tea leaves and oracles to tell me what to do. Get out of here with that math bullshit. Obviously. Also BCS of POS, there is no 51 attack. More like a 2-3 attack is possible. Considering AI can decrypt in just over a minute and a half what a human would take several lifetimes, we better start thinking of some biometrics or 2FA on top. What if the top 3 pools is actually secretly controlled by one person or one entity? This is why decentralized mining protocols are important.